All right, so we got Alabama in the house. Alabama is in the house. But what I want to know about Alabama is what is it that you feel is at stake specifically even for the residents of Alabama?
When we think about me being in the state legislature, we're, bringing a lawsuit around our mouths. We know that Alabama has about 28%, 27% African Americans. We know that districts have been gerrymandered. And so through a Supreme Court ruling and the fight of our colleagues in Alabama, we was able to get a second seat, an opportunity for a second seat. And so when we talk about resources, when we talk about someone that look like the community and represent the community and bring those resources to the community, this is transformational. I think it's the most important thing, in the last 20 years that happened in Alabama, and we just really need to galvanize, right? And so hopefully, we know it's an opportunity seat. We know it's 49% African American seat, and so if people get out to vote, we're going to show up and win.
What is your concern as we look from state to state? We see a lot of voter suppression. I'll even go over to Georgia where we see the State Board of Elections now saying that having a measure where they may not even have to certify the election. So these things like this drastically affect Black and brown communities. So when it's talking about getting out the vote, what is your message to voters? And secondly, I want to ask you about Black male voters in particular.
Well, we got to understand that democracy is at stake, right? We know that there's voter suppression. We know that Alabama took away curbside voting. We know that Alabama, we don't allow early voting. It's hard to do absentee, ID, all those things, right? And so we got to be a resilient people. We got to understand that in 1965, we was fighting the same problem, right? And so we have to go from civil rights to human rights and understand that we still have to show up. We have to show up. We understand that the game is rigged. The rules are not in our favor, but we can still show up on Tuesday. And I say to the Black male, in 2008, we all came out for Obama, right? We didn't ask any questions, right? We had someone that looked like us, right? And he really played the role for Kamala Harris, right? And so Black men need to show up, we need to show out, and I'll be on the front line voting on November 5th, and I ask that Black men show up too.
Lastly, when we took a look at this Harris Walls ticket, you're here at the DNC. How are you feeling? What's been your takeaway? And what are your actions when you leave here?
Yeah, I feel like people are energized, right? When we I love Biden, right? I was a Biden supporter, but you can see the shift in young people, right? I talked about Biden a lot, and young people just weren't feeling it, right? And then with this sudden change, it's like young people, all these people coming together. It's this melting pot of people coming together for a common cause, a common enemy. And so I just like what I see, right? I like AOC. I like Hillary, what she's doing. So it's just a great lineup, and I just feel the energy. This is my first time here, is electrifying.
I love it. Thank you so much. Let me just say you're always welcome on American Urban Radio Network. Can you just give our people AURN a shout out? Just say, hey, AURN.
Hey, AURN.